Alright guys, so as promised, I said I was going to do, at the end of, I think, the football jig video, I was going to put up a video, how to choose a jig, flipping versus football. I decided to go a step further and throw in two other types of jigs, and with them it's a total of four. Reason being, jigs are just great. I don't have all types of jigs. I don't use all types of jigs. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I try to keep things as simple as possible. It just makes it easier and makes it easier to enjoy. Plus, when you're in a tournament situation, simple is better a lot of times. So let's go ahead and get into this video. But before that, make sure to like, subscribe. Helps the channel out. Helps get this content out to people who need it, beginners, people looking into this kind of stuff. That's what this channel is geared towards. How-tos, basics for beginners, advanced tips, modifications. There's going to be a few gear reviews, things like that. Obviously, I am sponsored by Riot, working on some others. I've had prior sponsorships in the past. I ended up dropping some of them because ended up kind of going a different way. Now God's opened up another door, so kind of working on getting some things worked out in that. But besides that, you know, I'm not going to have everything. You know, I mean, content's going to be towards that stuff, but I will remain as unbiased as possible, even if you think I'm being biased because I'm sponsored by them, which most of these companies I'm not, and I'll let you know. Right now it's just Riot. I'm a very loyal when it comes to product. If I find something I use, or if I find something I like, that's what I stick to. I try a lot of things. I am super diverse. You should see my tackle. It is, at times, it seems out of control, which I'm sure we all feel like that at times. But anyways, let's get into this video. Last video on square bills ran kind of long. If you've watched the whole thing, I do apologize. There's a little bit of rambling in it, or ranting in it, but it's good. It's good information to know, because it's good to give yourself options, but keeping simple at the same time. So let's go and get into this. Let's start with football jigs. Football jig, and I'm going to grab these 3/4 ounce ones because they're a little bit easier to see on the camera. The football jig, if you've watched the videos, you kind of already know a little bit about them, but these, I primarily drag them. I cast them on, I use these when I'm offshore fishing, and bass fishing. A lot of people think offshore is like saltwater stuff. It's not the case. I live in the middle of Illinois. I think I've been to the beach a couple times and never fished out in saltwater or anything like that. But offshore fishing is just offshore, anything offshore. So if you're fishing brush piles out deep, or not even deep, but off the banks, ledges, points, stuff like that, that's where I like to throw these. I like to drag them. I'll pop them sometimes, kind of on the bottom, hop them like I do a flipping jig in a brush pile. But primarily I'm throwing these and dragging them. The head allows them to work well in rock too. They don't wedge. Since it's just a straight, you can see there's no point to wedge, unlike a flipping jig. If you try throwing a flipping jig into rock, you are going to hate it, because it will wedge. Anytime it works itself into a rock, it wedges and it's gone. It is there for a very, very long time, if not ever. Very seldom can you ever get them back. Football jigs are great for rock. They're great for offshore fishing for me. That's where I primarily use them. That's where they shine for me. Big confidence bait. This is one of those specific rod, tied on all the time. I take one everywhere I go. Seems like I'll throw them in shallow too. If there's along the bank, some of the lakes that I fish, there's some steep banks in places. There's some real steep banks, and the first 6 foot might be out from the bank, might be 4 or 5 foot deep, and then it's a steep drop off, which is great in certain conditions. And I like to throw these on that ledge. It's like just like ledge fishing offshore, deeper water, 15, 20 foot, but on a smaller scale. You're still targeting those bass that are shallow. You're keeping yourself around laydowns and grass lines, but you're getting those fish that kind of back off when it gets hot. They drop off just right over that ledge in a little bit cooler water, maybe into some current in some spots. You can get some current in, bringing in cooler water from the main body. It's a hot spot at times. It's good to know where those are, use your graphs, stuff like that, get familiar with them and learn it. But great rock, a great jig to put in rock, stuff like that. That's where these shine for me. They don't do well in brush. They just don't. Before, a long time ago when I was first starting out, this was all I had, football jigs. Didn't know the difference. And that's why I'm here making these videos. That way, not only can I help support the companies that support me, but primarily my whole goal is to help you guys out who are getting into this, want some refreshers, want some new ideas, some new tips. We're all from different parts of the country. We all fish differently sometimes. There's some things that I do that might seem crazy to you, and there's some things that you do that might seem crazy to me, and I'd never try. But if you were telling me about it, I might try it if it's something you have a lot of confidence in. So this is all what it's all about, sharing, things like that. So again, football jig, big confidence bait for me. We'll stay with that type of jig. The flipping jig. I'll grab this one. This is the Riot Baits Mini Mod jig. That's an adrenaline tackle. Well, it's actually Strike Right, adrenaline bot Strike Right. I'm a big fan of the adrenaline jigs. Let me go over why real quick, actually. What I look for in a football jig, that's important. You don't need a big brush guard. You don't need a super thick, stiff brush guard. You just don't need it because you're fishing in the open. If that's where you fish them. If you fish them in grass, which is not recommended, that's where the flipping head is, and we'll get into that. But typically, the way I fish them, I don't need a real heavy brush guard. This doesn't take a whole lot. EWG for me is a must. If I'm buying a football head jig, EWG all the way. A lot of times I'm casting these as far as I can get them. I'm throwing usually braid to a leader for more castability, longer rod for more castability. I want to cast these as far as I can and cover as much water as I can, because it seems weird, but for me, just because I'm throwing a jig does not mean I'm slowing down. I will fish these fast. I will cover water with these very efficiently and thoroughly. To me, I am slower than if I was fishing a Swimbait or an underspin or something like that along those lines. But for me, it's a good middle ground between breaking out the drop shot or slow rolling a Swimbait on the bottom. I can still cover a decent amount of water with this. So fighting fish for a long time seems like some casts, they just bite it as soon as you cast it. Sometimes they hit it on the fall. As soon as it hits, they just suck it right up, and you're fighting that fish for a long ways. So I like all the advantage I can get. I don't care for a super heavy duty hook either. This is heavy duty in a way. It's kind of a heavy wire EWG. If you have any of those, that's kind of what I would compare this to. I don't need anything heavier than that because again, long casts, I don't want any problems getting that hook set on a long cast. Like I said, I fish braid for a little bit more strength in the hook sets, but also for castability. I do fish these on a copolymer line, which is a Floral Clear by P-Line. Not sponsored by P-Line. I just really like their product. I've had a lot of good luck with it, and it's pretty much all I fish now. I've tried a ton of them. We'll go over that in some future videos. But that's some things I look for. Not getting into color in this video. That's not what this video is for. So if you want to know stuff about that, how I fish these, I'll get videos like that once I'm on the water at home. Right now I'm stuck in the dorm. I love doing these videos. I would be doing these videos first anyways, even if I was at home on the water, but I'd just be doing my boat instead of the dorm. Flipping jigs. This is where I vary. I like a little stiffer weed guard. This one has a lot more bristles on it compared to the football jigs that I use, and that varies. If you have football jigs, some that have super heavy weed guards, I've had some in the past, I just don't have any more that are like that. I like a heavy duty hook. These mini maws are awesome. One thing that sets them apart, for me, I was a firm believer, and I always had to have hooks like this thing. It is massive compared to that in gauge and just size. I mean, look at the difference. But I put this in the nastiest conditions, and you know, big fish for where I'm from, Illinois. They don't get super huge like they do down south. So for you guys down south, telling you that my best is a 5, that's not that big for you guys. You guys probably catch those all the time. But where I'm from in Illinois, 5 is really good fish. We get bigger fish too, but they're not as common. So I've caught 5-pounders in brush. I've got hung up and I've drug them over stuff. Caught them in grass, big fish in grass, 3, 4s. Really aggressive fish pulling in grass. I've had my deck of my boat covered in grass sometimes flipping these things, and I have never had a hook bend at all. These are super strong hooks for as not as heavy duty looking as they are. They don't look like it, but these have a ton of backbone. They're not super rigid like some hooks. They got a little flex in them, keeps them from breaking. These are super strong hooks. I'm super impressed with them. I'm really happy with them. Like I said before, I was fishing these all the time, which are fine. I fish these all the time still. But I've found with the smaller hook in general, I get hung up less with these, which is a plus for me. I'm not wasting so much time, especially if you're in a tournament situation. Time is everything. Time is super valuable. So hook on the mini maws, a little bit more forgiving because they are a thinner diameter. I feel like that smaller hook does get hung up less. Have I noticed a difference in hookup ratio? No, I have not. In theory, the bigger hook gap between the head and the hook point, in theory, there should be better hookup ratio with this one over this one, but I haven't noticed anything. If that changes, I will update. I will let you guys know, but as of now, I don't have any problem hooking up with these. Flipping jigs, I use them in wood primarily, brush and laydowns, and grass lines too. That's where these shine. Some people only flip in grass with a flipping jig. I'll flip and pitch into brush piles just like a Texas rig with these. I don't have any problem getting hung up. I don't feel like I do. I just don't. Some guys say that these are only for grass. If you're fishing brush and laydowns, you have to have a casting jig or like an archy head, which I don't own one. I've never needed to. I put these in everything, not just this one. Let me grab this one. This is a dirty jig, so let me grab this one. I don't have any problem putting these style heads in anything. I just don't have a problem with it. If you guys do, leave it in the comments, but I just don't. And I'll fish these deep in brush and laydowns and stuff. I fish laydowns very thoroughly with these things, even across logs and in the laydown. I will fish across, even though it's not recommended, but majority of my fish actually come going through horizontally, which we'll get into that in some tip videos. But like I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is I put these in the worst spots possible and still get them through just fine. So I've never had a reason to spend the money on casting or an archy head style that people swear that's for brush. I don't have that problem. Both football and flipping, I keep 3/8, half, 3/4. Again, go watch those the specific videos. I go in more depth and things like that. Next, swimming jigs. So I decided to throw the swimming jig in there because it is very similar. There's not much difference between a flipping jig and a swim jig. There doesn't appear to. And if you are on a budget, if this is all you have, you can swim these all day long. Even through grass, they will work because the heads are still designed to work in grass. They are a flipping jig. They're made to flip in grass and things like that. That's what they're made for. So they will work. Don't think you have to buy some of these. I encourage it because they're here for a reason. There's a reason they're still around because they are super important in your arsenal. I highly recommend having these types of jigs. But the heads on a swim jig, as you can see, are narrow. They are pointed just like a flipping jig, but even more. And that's so it cuts through the grass better. I don't normally trim the skirts on my swim jigs because I always fish a longer trailer. Now, if I put a trailer on and I noticed that it was too long, I would trim it. But as of now, I don't really have any problems with that. Weed guards, that's where I'm kind of torn. I kind of prefer a heavier one. Kind of keeps grass out of there better because that's where you're fishing these a lot of times. You can fish these open water too. There's no reason you can't. You can slow roll these on the bottom. These work fine, just like a swim bait. If you want to add the skirt, maybe going after a bigger bite, there's no reason you can't. These are also very versatile. Along with all jigs, in my opinion, jigs are super versatile. They're something you should always have on the deck. Keep your options open. But these are a Strike King. Riot does not have a swim jig. But these are Strike Kings. I think all of them are. No, I do have one that's from Strike Right, or Adrenaline now. I prefer the wire keeper on all my jigs, honestly, because you don't want to store any jig, or you don't want to store anything with a soft plastic on them because over time they can rust the hooks. That is actually a big deal. You don't want to store them. You need to take them off. Plus, another thing, it keeps you from getting stuck on one trailer and only using that one color. It can keep you from having other options also because you get lazy, because I did it. So you want to take them off. You want to take the extra 30 seconds to put a trailer on. It's not that big a deal. But I prefer the wire keeper because it tears them up less. Whenever you have this style bait keeper, whenever you take the trailer off when you're done using it, sometimes it kind of tears out the front. They still hold them. They'll still hold them, but I kind of prefer the wire keeper because I feel like they do just as well. Not better, but I think they do equally well, but it's easier on your soft plastic. So for me, I still try and stay pretty budget oriented. I don't have all the money in the world to spend on this stuff. I don't get paid to fish. I don't get money from sponsors. I get discounts. So it's not like I'm getting paid to represent this stuff. I represent this stuff because I believe in it. I have a reason to use this stuff, and it's just I'm fortunate enough to get to represent the companies that support me through discount right now. In the future, but a lot of your bait companies, if you guys are looking into getting into tournament fishing, or just competitively, or if you just want to get on some pro staff, there's no reason not to. Pro staff is great. A lot of guys will say that it's not good. Some pro staffs are not very good. Some are better than others. Some are awesome. Being on Riot Bait's pro staff is amazing. It feels like family. But some are not that way. But again, we might do a video on that sometime. If that's something that interests you guys, you can let me know. But again, swim jigs, primarily in grass. That's what the head's designed to do. It's designed to cut through the grass and open the grass so the bait doesn't get snagged. Just because I haven't done a video on swim jigs yet, which I will do, but just because I haven't yet, very simple. I like a shad color. I like having it all white. This one's got some gray flake, if you can see it or not. A bluegill type color. I like to have one of those. Also go on your forage. If you have 0 bluegill and it's all shad, maybe put more emphasis on the shad. And then a black and blue. I like to have black and blue because black and blue is just proven in jig colors and any color, really. This is that Strike Right one I was telling you about whenever it was still Strike Right. Now it's Adrenaline. Adrenaline's a great company. I know the owner. He's a great guy. Definitely, he has a Facebook page. Go check out the Facebook page. And you can contact him and figure out how to maybe order some stuff. They're really good. They're great jigs. I'm not sure how he's doing the skirts right now. I'm not sure if they're hand tied or how they're done. The riots are hand tied, the mini maws and stuff, and I believe the little creepers are too. It's been a while since I've had any little creepers on hand, because they're a little more compact, finesse style football jig. I don't necessarily use those that much. I'm more of a bigger football head guy, so I'm gonna get some though again and try them out again. They were really good. I caught fish on them, but not necessarily something I always use all the time. So when I ended up getting snagged, or I gave them to someone, I just never really replenished them. But definitely check out Adrenaline Tackle. He is on Facebook. Great guy. I've fished against him several times. Local fruit jar tournaments. Super cool guy. That's it for swim jigs. Next is the bladed jig, or better known as the Chatterbait. Chatterbaits I keep pretty much the same colors. Bluegill, maybe a green pumpkin, some shad, maybe chartreuse shad, different shad colors, stuff like that. So the Chatterbait is from Z-Man. There's several different types that he has. These are the customs. These are the more affordable ones. I do like these. If you've never fished a Chatterbait, you are missing out. You definitely should look into picking some of these up. I always put a trailer on them, same as a swim jig. I always put a trailer on, usually a paddle tail swim bait. Gary Yamamoto has like the Zako. It's kind of like I'm not sure how to describe it. It's kind of like a segmented, soft swim bait almost. They're pretty neat. Some guys, I've heard guys putting flukes on them. I've never put a fluke on them, I'll be honest. Not something that sounds appealing to me. Some guys have though, so it's worth trying. If that's something, if you've got some flukes, which I do. I actually have a ton of flukes. I love to fish a fluke. I've just never tried it. Maybe that's something I'll do. But paddle tail swim bait for me. Quick tip on chatterbaits: rig them upside down. If you use a paddle tail, put the paddle tail upside down. That way the boot is facing more this way and not more down, because whenever it's down, this is moving water, it chatter or vibrates. Vibrating jig is what they're called, that, or a bladed jig. This vibrates, so whenever it's doing that, it messes up the water underneath the bait. You get that in the water coming over, it kills it. Doesn't really do much, so flip it upside down and it puts that boot tail right in the wake of this, and it goes nuts. It looks normal, it looks great. That's a must on these. If you're fishing a boot style or a paddle style swim bait, or whatever I'm trying to say. But that's the original Z-Man. This is the Jackhammer. These are pricey. I didn't even buy this. My girlfriend bought it for me because I am not about to spend $20 on a chatterbait willingly. But I do love this. This is a great chatterbait. It is worth the money, no doubt. It is definitely worth the money. But this has a weed guard, unlike the originals. Originals do not have a weed guard. These stay pretty weedless though. These really help. The blade itself helps as a weed guard somehow. But they added a weed guard for extra protection. It's not super stiff. It's a good weed guard. I do like it. The hooks on these are better. They are a black nickel. They don't rust as bad or as quick. Actually, I don't think I've ever had rust problems with these. You can run into rust problems with these sometimes. I think I've had to clean some rust off before. But the jackhammers are definitely worth it. If you have the money to spend, or you already know you like chatterbaits, or you buy some now from this video, or you're looking at this video because of other recommendations and you want to learn more about jigs or something like that, and you find out you really do like them. They become a confidence thing, because they can be. I love fishing these. I've caught tons of fish on them. Jackhammer's worth it. It is, but they are also like 20 bucks. This one, I cannot remember the name. Nicholas Wink. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's also a fellow Riot member. He's also sponsored by several other companies, including like Nitro Boats, stuff like that. Go check his Facebook page out, and he also has a YouTube channel, Reelin' with Nick. It's a great channel. Check him out. Make sure to subscribe to him. I'll try and leave a link in the description for his channel. He gave this to me. I love this. This is a great little chatterbait. Super nice looking. Fish is amazing. It's a little bit more bent up, as you can see, compared to the original Z-Man. And in my opinion, has its place. Maybe a little bit more. I might actually prefer this one over. You can kind of see the difference there. I kind of prefer these ones, honestly. I need to text him and figure out where I can buy more of these. So I do like them. They are really good. Again, shad. I keep the colors pretty similar. Oh, another one. It's white and chartreuse. I don't have one in a swim jig anymore because I lost it. I recommend buying duplicates once you've found out what works for you. It is definitely a must if you fish much. White chartreuse, that's a great color to have too. Chatterbaits. You can throw them around wood. I'll throw them around wood sometimes. I don't get them deep in wood. I'm sure you could, but I just don't really. Grass. They're great to rip through grass. Let them fish it over grass. And like I've said in previous videos, I will get out on the water in the boat and show you guys how to fish these actually on the water, with them really in the water trying to catch fish. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it, why I do it, the method to my madness. That's what I want to give you guys, is what I'm actually doing. You know, I want to try and no veil. You know, I just want to show you guys what I'm really doing with this stuff. So I will have videos out here pretty soon. Next couple months I should start having some of those how to actually fish videos up. So again, check out the individual videos I have on the flipping and football jigs. Watch out for the independent vibrating and swim jig videos. Check out Nick's YouTube, Reelin' with Nick. I'll leave it in the description. But he has a pretty good channel. If you're into casting, check him out. He is a casting pro. So he's got some good content on casting, and you can leave a comment on his videos and he should get back to you. And he also has a Facebook page too, so you can ask him on there too if you have any questions. Personally, I do like casting. I'm not sponsored by them. Maybe one day I am open to that. But I do like casting products. Kind of side note, but alright, so if you guys liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. It really helps out the channel more than you guys know. If you're also a small content creator, you guys know I'm not here to make it big. I'm not here to do that kind of stuff. I'm here to help out new anglers, stuff like that. And even seasoned, even professional, you know, I'm gonna have some in-depth stuff, some advanced tips, beginner tips, some how-to, what to look for, things like that. So this channel is going to be for everybody, but again, not looking to get big off of this. I'm not looking to go full-time. I guess if that was an option, you know, I would consider maybe, but it's not what I'm trying to do with this. I'm just trying to bring you guys some content that I feel like is needed. So again, like, subscribe, check out Reelin' with Nick. It's a great channel. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless.